Well, hello everyone. Welcome to today's webinar hosted alongside our MCA Canada Associate Member FIELDBOSS. My name is Ken Lancaster. I'm the Chief Operating Officer with MCA Canada. It gives me great pleasure to be introducing this webinar and our speakers today. Now, usually I would take this opportunity to provide a bit of an overview on the topic and our speakers, but I think given the topic, I thought I would ask AI to give me a little bit of help as far as introducing this. So here it goes. Welcome to today's webinar. In a rapidly evolving industry, mechanical contractors face increasing demands for efficiency, precision, and innovation. Artificial intelligence is becoming a game changer. Now, of course, AI would say that, offering advanced tools to streamline operations, optimize resource management, and improve decision-making across the board. Now let's explore how embracing AI today can help you prepare for tomorrow. So not bad, right? With that said, I think it's a good time to turn things over to our speakers here today. As always, we would encourage participation through the chat or the Q&A function. We will have some time at the end of the webinar for questions and answers with our speakers. And without any further delay, I'm going to welcome Jonathan Taube, President of FIELDBOSS, and Shani Mehtav, a Solution Consultant with FIELDBOSS, to do today's webinar. So please, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Ken, and welcome everybody, and thanks for taking time out of your busy day. We're a company that services service contractors, so we know how tough it is to make the time and space for something like this. So what we're going to do is keep it short and crisp. I'm going to do a little bit of the backstory of what Microsoft has to offer everyone who's attending this thing, presumably if you're running Microsoft Office, or formerly known as Microsoft Office, now known as Microsoft 365, every one of you should have already the capability to leverage some of this stuff. But we're going to try and frame it in the context of commercial contracting, and I'll speak briefly and frame it all, and then Shani's going to walk you through some real-life examples. So here we go. So why should you all be interested in? Ken gave us the ChatGPT version of why. But if you're an employee at a contracting organization, you have the choice of embracing this stuff and not incurring resume technical debt, as we call it at FIELDBOSS. And if you own a company, this thing's going to directly affect your valuation multiple. So there's something in it for everybody. For every user, including the owners. Microsoft here had a slide they put out very recently explaining that if you use their AI tool branded Copilot in Microsoft Office, you can see the percentage efficiency improvements across the board on all the products we use every day. For users that really embrace it, it's higher. And we'll show you some examples in an upcoming few slides from now. In terms of the company ownership, one way to think about it is we all know that private equity is buying up everything on planet Earth. And there was an article in the Wall Street Journal just this weekend about how HVAC contractors are, red meat for these guys, as you all know. The main lever private equity will use to get a return on their investment is by going after operational improvements. These boxes here will sort of talk about different levers they use to get valuations up. But the main way to get the multiple on EBITDA or top line revenue is going to be operational improvements, getting free cash flow improved. And for contractors, that's largely the value of the maintenance contract portfolio. You don't get as much money for a construction or install base, but you definitely do on the recurring revenue. So anything we can do to get that more profitable, improve it, is money in your pocket. Okay, so let's talk about what AI means in the context of our seminar topic today. If you look at the Oxford English Dictionary, probably every single word has AI in front of it or behind it now in some way, shape, or form. I'm sure every URL has been taken, and really, I think it's kind of so popular that it doesn't mean anything. But personally, it's a pet peeve of mine. People throw words around; they don't really know the meaning of it underneath it. So I just wanted to very quickly talk about some terms here that we should all be on the same page on. And I'm just going to pick these things at random. Large language models just means they take data sets of the English language, look for patterns, and then the AI companies basically have algorithms, and they use extensive computer processing to basically come up with optimization formulas that basically can predict what's going to come out of a prompt. So when you push something into like a ChatGPT or any AI type product, that's called a prompt. And then the different AI companies will have software that very, very, very quickly goes through everything that's ever been done on the internet or in Facebook comments or whatever it is they're using as their language model, and it'll predict what's next. And then training that is when you how you'll see like a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Was this useful? That's the feedback loop. So it sounds a little like more sophisticated than it is. It's just really X's and O's or bits and bytes or ones and zeros. You're basically optimizing the formula for the computer software. That's where the machine learning comes in. We give it feedback and it iterates without writing code, and that's how we get, in the example of OpenAI, the GPT, the generative pre-trained transformer. Pre-trained means we did it, and it's transforming the data set into something that's predictive, and the generative just means it's like iterative. Natural language processing just means that you're engaging with computers in normal English language or whatever language you're speaking. So those are the big terms that I don't think people really know what they mean, but I think training itself, I find fascinating. It's simple thumbs up, thumbs down, and your computer program is getting better. So FIELDBOSS, which I did not introduce when I started talking, we are a mechanical contractor field service solution that's completely built on the Microsoft platform. So we leverage what everybody knows as Microsoft Office and the business apps called Dynamics 365, and we have a HVAC contractor layer on top of that basically optimizes how you do your install, maintenance, and repairs. And it's an end-to-end solution from sales and CRM through to accounting. So we go right from the second somebody raises their hand, either in marketing or as a customer service request, through to the income statement. And we do that all, like I said, on the Microsoft Cloud products, and everything resides in the Microsoft data centers. And as you can see the picture here, that's an actual one. And they always show these things with nice blue clouds and green fields. Often there's a cow chewing its cud. And they're really just trying to get across how environmentally friendly they are. And we can spend a whole seminar on what goes on in a data center, but like I said, I want to keep it quick and stick to the stuff you really want to see, which is the demo. But one of the things that we like about the Microsoft platform is that this is a map of planet Earth where all their data centers are. And given that this is a Canadian bunch, that's Japan, hold on. I'm pretty good at geography. Here we go. Okay, so in Canada, we've got data centers in the east, central, and the west, and then you've got all the US ones down here. So essentially, the Microsoft platform that we use resides in all these blue dots. It's replicated on the other side of the earth through these little, I don't know if you can see that on the how clear this is on the meeting, but there's optical cables that synchronize everything. And interesting fun fact, we service the US and Canada. Oftentimes the bugs will propagate first in Canada before they hit the US. So if there's ever something that goes wrong, oftentimes they've done an update in Canada first. I guess they use us Canadians as a, I don't know, like a guinea pig before they roll something out in the US. And I don't think it's ever happened the other way. But anyway, the point is that you've got these giant data centers across the country that hold all the data and process all the stuff you're going to see in a minute. Back to my PowerPoint here. These things are incredibly energy intensive. The computing power it takes to go through all the world's knowledge online and spit out an answer what you should have as your cocktail party menu for next Tuesday takes a ton of energy, and we don't have time to get into that either. But if you had not seen the headlines, there's basically a deal now with Microsoft to get 3 Mile Island back online, and that's how desperate they are to get these things working. It's likely that the AI movement will resurrect the nuclear movement across North America anyway. Now, the Microsoft product Copilot has its roots in ChatGPT from OpenAI. OpenAI was a product that was incubated in Y Combinator, which is a startup accelerator out in Stanford. And he basically worked there and spotted this product, OpenAI, and he basically, make a really long story short, sort of left his position at Y Combinator, got into the OpenAI with Elon Musk and others. It was supposed to be a nonprofit to make the world a better place. Fast forward to today, they're all fighting over money, and it's no longer a not-for-profit, but that's, again, a subject matter that we could have in Austin, Texas at the event over American Thanksgiving. If you want to hit me up there, because I'll be there. OpenAI has a few different products. The one everybody knows is ChatGPT, which is like text-to-text or image-to-text outputs, but they also have some interesting ones, DALL-E, which is where you can put in text and you'll get an image back. They've got, as you can see, Whisper and TTS. But basically, ChatGPT is their flagship product. It was the fastest piece of software ever to hit 100 million downloads. I think it was like 4 days. It was really quick. It might have been 4 weeks, but it was exponentially faster than the second fastest thing, which was actually Threads. So currently, they're based on the private transactions that are going on. This thing's worth 150 billion. I think it was one of the fastest to hit that number. They've got SpaceX and ByteDance ahead of them. So they're not the fastest, but they're up there. So needless to say, if you follow the money, this thing's real. And lucky for all of us, it's the foundation for Microsoft Copilot. And as you can see, it's early days. The money is flying at this thing. You can see from the Wall Street Journal headlines, these are within the last month. Anyone with real big money is trying to get a piece of this because of the impact it's going to have on society and for us at work. Like I said, 30% on a North American HVAC contractor payroll number is billions. The way the deal with Microsoft and OpenAI is structured, it's actually pretty interesting. OpenAI needed the data centers to run their stuff. So they basically went to Microsoft, who have probably the best data centers out there, arguably. And in exchange for access to those data centers, which was really the form of this $10 billion investment arrow at the top, OpenAI basically gave Microsoft compute, Microsoft gave them compute capability. OpenAI gave Microsoft compute application, which became Copilot. Copilot is, something that Microsoft sells, and they license the OpenAI engine, the ChatGPT engine underneath, back to OpenAI. And Microsoft takes 75% of the profits. They own about 49% of this thing. The deal structure is changing, but just to summarize this thing, Microsoft has the computing power. OpenAI has the software. Microsoft branded it as Copilot. They pay a fee back to OpenAI, and they split the profits. So it is a bit of a cabal, and we can all argue whether big tech is a benefit or a hindrance to society. But if we just stay in our lane and focus on our day job, the fact that we've got these tools that Shini's going to show you in a second is really the way to embrace this thing. If we take a step back and look at how the world of HVAC contracting works, we sell one platform, and we typically are coming into organizations that are running many different things. We've got, there's no, the order of this slide on the right is really the accounting, and the output being the income statements and balance sheets. You'd be amazed how many people still use Excel for stuff. In the middle are HVAC contractor software that basically will run the business, but are lacking in something. Most often, it's accounting. So they'll have their strengths and weaknesses in different aspects of running an HVAC contractor company. Some are going to be better at some things than others. Some of them are vaporware. There's just a lot of fluff, some of the newer ones. So a lot of these are old. and a lot of these, it's the last mile that kills you. So they may have entered the market with like a good mobile app or something good for projects, but going end to end on repair, maintenance, and projects and accounting and mobile is a big ask. So we took and again, like what happens is when you've got multiple pieces of software products that you're relying on or manual stuff, you're going to have risk. You may have the biggest problem is the reporting is never as good as you need it to be. But if you look at the valuation, and sort of what you do day to day, there's a huge limitation around automation and just sort of keeping all the balls in the air, managing all these software products and keeping them current, keeping the integrations working, and really not putting your staff through the meat grinder of working like Lucy Ricardo on the assembly line is what you see when you are working with substandard software. Our prescription to fix that is the Microsoft Cloud Platform, which includes the AI now across all licenses. And I'm just going to jump to a quick slide that explains what the Cloud Platform is, and then we'll zero in on and Copilot. So if I go to this slide here on the Microsoft website, the Microsoft Cloud, you have to think of it as like a technology platform. And these pieces of pie make up the platform. So you're all familiar with what Microsoft calls modern work. Those are things like Microsoft 365, Office, if you haven't accepted that yet, Teams and Windows. And then for us, the business applications are Dynamics 365. And then for the users, the interface is familiar. It's consistent across the products they already use. And really, the end result is getting data out of this thing, either as Power BI reports, views in Excel, or the AI capabilities is really like I said, the platform delivers reporting and automation and business intelligence that help you turn your contractor organization into something that's much more powerful than it is today. In terms of the risk mitigation, you've got all your data in the Microsoft Cloud and the servers I showed before. It's extremely secure, so they've got security infrastructure in place that they are responsible for as long as you subscribe to these licenses. But it just makes your whole IT footprint much more elegant, much more simple, much more predictable. And you can focus then your sort of headspace on, doing your job, doing right by your customers, and life becomes a lot more fun. When we talk about life becoming a lot more fun at work, again, we're talking about coming in to do your job every day, having the information you need to act on things in Power BI at your fingertips, pushing buttons and having things happen magically through automation. And these automations can happen via no code. A power user at one of our clients could configure all kinds of automations, and you start moneyballing your business. So you'll see that in a moment as we run through some of these demos. But again, you look at sort of like the Microsoft value proposition around the data, the security, the applications, and really how it impacts you guys. This is the slide here that's your silver bullet. So Copilot now is, like I said, it's the branded offering from OpenAI around AI. And I think what I'm going to do is turn this over to Shanine. She's going to take over and explain this stuff and show it to you.
Okay. So I don't have a lot of time left. I'm going to try to cover as much as I can in the meantime. So we're going to go over some practical ways to use Microsoft Copilot in different parts of the business. So we're going to focus on Copilot for Microsoft 365, Copilot for Sales, Copilot for Dynamics 365, and Copilot Studio. So we're going to start with Office 365. We're going to watch 3 short demos of how we can use it in Excel, PowerPoint, and Word. Okay.
Shawnee, we're just not getting any sound.
Oh, you can't hear it? Okay, let me try to share my screen again. Okay. Sorry, now you'll hear it.
I'm going to download those into Excel and then run Copilot on it using this prompt right here. Here's my Business Central tenant, and I'm going to open up the customer ledger entries. This is a standard list in Business Central. I'm going to look just at the invoices. So use that filter there, and then I'm going to download it into Excel. So here's the data direct from Business Central. I want to save this up to the cloud so I can use Copilot to analyze this data. I'm going to upload it right here. And as soon as I do that, that activates Copilot. You can see it lit up here. This is the way it looks in the Office apps. It's an icon here. I'm going to click on that. The way that generative AI usually works is that that user provides a prompt. Copilot will take that and give results. So I'm going to put my prompt in right here. You can see it. And then I'm going to start Copilot. And we'll watch it go. It'll take a little while. It's understanding the data. It's analyzing the data. It's looking at my request. And it's going to give me some results. So you can see the first set of results. It's a graph. And then here's some text about it. So what I can do with this graph, I can go here. I can add it to my sheet. I'm just going to add this to my worksheet as well. So we can see the results. Copilot provided a response based on my prompt looking at the BC data. You can see that here. It created a nice graph. This is in Excel, obviously. And from here, I can use it any way that I want to.
Okay, that was Excel. Now this is PowerPoint.
Everyone has had a moment when they wish they could turn their proposal into a customer-ready presentation without having to start from scratch. Now you can. Using just your own words, Copilot can translate Word into PowerPoint. You can also translate PowerPoint into Word. Now you have a professional-looking presentation that you can hone and polish. Let's say you want to add a slide. Give Copilot some quick instructions. There it goes, ready for you to review. So this slide is too wordy. Let's ask Copilot to make it more visual. Give it a few seconds. And check this out. Copilot can even animate the slide. It gives it a professional design treatment in a single click. But it doesn't stop there. Copilot even generates speaker notes for all your slides. It's not only a time saver, it's helping you be a better presenter.
And last one.
Copilot in Microsoft 365 can help you unleash creativity at work. Imagine you need to create a rock-solid proposal to win the business, and you don't have time for writer's block. You can use Copilot to draft a proposal based on your customer notes in OneNote, as well as another internal document. Copilot scans the target files and gets to work, quickly generating a first draft with all the key details from the files you provided. Now, let's say you want this to look like your previous proposals. Copilot can give you a draft in the format you typically use. It inserts product images and pulls in relevant visuals from other files. You can include a short summary at the top of the document. And Copilot can make suggestions to strengthen the proposal, like adding an FAQ, which it will generate for you to refine.
Okay, so you saw that these were just a few ways of how you can use it, but the possibilities are really endless of like how it can save you time in apps that you're using in your day-to-day life. Next, we're going to go over Copilot for Sales. So I'm going to start with Copilot for Sales in Outlook, then we're going to go to Dynamics 365 and then Teams. So I'm just going to open one email that I have in my system. And then I have this button here, Copilot for Sales in the ribbon. And you can see that based on the email address of the person that I'm talking to, it will know which record it needs to connect to in my Dynamics 365. So if I click on Save, it already knows the opportunity and the account, so I can just choose one of them and it can save it in my system against the account. Then the next section here is a summary of the email exchange. So it can be a really, really long email exchange, and it will only give me the most important key points that are relevant to me. And then if I want to reply, I'll just click on draft an email. I will make a proposal for this one, and it catches my style of writing, which is it learns it with time, and it will just write it in my style. And then if I like it or not like it, I can do it here. This is how I train my AI. And I can either use it, change it, send it, and this is just a really quick way to reply to messages in your email. And now that I've saved it into my system, I want to go to Dynamics 365. And then this is in FIELDBOSS in our system. We can see all the emails that are attached to one of our accounts. And here at the top, I have this highlight button. So this one summarizes all of my communication with the client. So different people in the company can save emails to this specific account. And then it will tell me if we sent them a proposal, we sent them an invoice, anything like that will show up here. And then we also have this Copilot button here on the side. So it just helps me get access to the data that I have in the system and also prepare for meetings. So if I click on this stay ahead, it can show me emails that need follow-up. It can give me the most important opportunities I didn't give enough attention to, or it can prepare me for a sales meeting. Now I'm going to go to Teams, and I have this Sales Copilot chat. So when I actually schedule the meeting, an hour before, it will send me this card that tells me who accepted, who declined the meeting, and it will also give me access to the recent communication with the client. So if I click on it here, it will show me the last email and I can prepare for the meeting. Now we've done the meeting, we've finished it. I'm going to go to the meeting itself, and then I'm going to click on the sales tab, which is the recap of the meeting. So now at the bottom, we will be able to see the speakers, and we can also see if the tone was negative, positive, or neutral. So if here it was negative and I want to see why, so I'm going to click on it and it will take me to the exact point in the transcript. So in this case, it was Jonathan. And I can also look up anything that I want in the transcript. So let's say I want to see anytime we worked about a work order, it will show it to me immediately. And then here's something really nice that we have is the follow-up. It will tell me the follow-up that I need to do after the meeting, and it can also create a task in my CRM. So here it told me that I needed to create a budgetary estimate. Jonathan and I needed to send it to this person. So if I click on create task, it creates task immediately in the system. And if I go to mentions, these are also ways to see all the topics we were talking about in the meeting. So if I click here under keywords, brand mentioned, I want to see anytime we talked about Microsoft Excel. So it will both show up in the transcript and here in the meeting, like in the timeline of the meeting here at the bottom. I want to see whenever someone mentioned my name, it also shows up here and takes me to the point in the meeting. And something that is really useful is at the bottom, we can also see all the questions that were asked in the meeting. So whether I asked the questions or the customer asked the question, and I can't remember what they replied, I can see all their questions here, and it will take me to the right point in the meeting too. Okay, next we have Copilot Studio, which is a way for you to build your own copilots. So just a second, I need to move the bar at the top. Okay, so this is Copilot Studio. This is a way for you to create your own copilots. So it can be very advanced, but I'm going to do something really, really simple here that you can see how like such small things can be very useful. So this is the name of the Copilot, and the only thing I'm going to do is add knowledge to the Copilot and publish it to Teams as a Teams chat. So if I go to knowledge here, this is where I can add my knowledge. So knowledge can be any files on your computer, files from SharePoint, it can be public websites, and it can also be connected to your Dynamics 365, which is what I did in this example. So you can see all the tables from Dynamics 365 here. And then if I click publish, it can be published either to a website that you want, but in this example, I just publish it to Teams. So I'm going to go to Teams, and then this is my Copilot. So you can see that I asked it different questions. And then the last one was if I had any IoT alerts lately. So because it has access to the data in my system, it told me, yes, we have these 3 alerts. So I want to open them in my system and see them. So here are the IoT alerts, exactly the ones that Copilot caught in the chat, that in the Copilot that we just created. And now what I want to do with the alerts is send them to the property manager and create a service call. So I'm going to click here, and then I have this flow button, which is the connection we have to Power Automate. And we're going to create a new flow very quickly with Copilot. So we're starting from scratch. The only thing we have here is the screen that we were at in the system that I was just at. So like here, this is the screen that it's starting from. So I prepared here, I want to get, I'm going to tell Copilot, I want to get the property manager details and send him an email, notify them about the alert, and schedule a service activity. So I'm going to send that to Copilot. And then what it's going to do, it's going to create automatically without me doing anything. It's just going to add 2 steps to my automation. So it just guides you and it helps you create automations very, very easily. It's just a really cool thing that we can do, and it also integrates, like, it's in FIELDBOSS. And then if we have more time, I will also go through Business Central, but if not, then do we have a few more minutes or not?
Yep, please feel free.
Okay, perfect. So we just have 2 more quick videos to watch about how Copilot works in Business Central.
Tired of manually matching incoming invoices to purchase orders? Even when your system is set up to automatically receive electronic documents, tediously matching line items is not how you want to start your workday. Microsoft Copilot in Dynamics 365 Business Central does the hard work, so you don't have to. Using powerful AI, Copilot analyzes the e-invoice and compares the line items with your purchase order, getting you to green in no time, even if you're dealing with dozens or perhaps hundreds of lines. Copilot also signals slight discrepancies that are within the tolerance levels that you control, and identifies line items that may be split or grouped differently. After a quick review, this invoice is successfully mapped and ready to apply to the purchase order. And Business Central updates the vendor document number and date so that it's ready for processing. Keep up with payables and reclaim time for your most impactful work with Copilot in Business Central.
So I didn't mention it, but Business Central is the accounting app for Microsoft.
Reconciling bank statements has traditionally been like solving a time-consuming puzzle, with complex transactions making it tough to fit the pieces together. Microsoft Copilot and Dynamics 365 Business Central is your AI-powered bookkeeping assistant that helps you turn a tedious monthly chore into a quick review. Start by importing bank statements into Business Central for Copilot to analyze. Using built-in rules and powerful AI, Copilot compares transaction descriptions, amounts, and dates to find matches in your ledger entries even when multiple charges are consolidated into a single entry. Found a transaction that wasn't accounted for, such as interest or bank fees? No problem. Copilot also suggests GL accounts to post remaining transactions to, improving the accuracy of your financial records. And if you've discovered a recurring payment, Copilot helps you save that transaction pattern for the next time. Solve the puzzle of bank reconciliation faster and easier than ever before with Copilot in Business Central.
Okay, that was a lot of information really fast, so I hope that was okay. Yeah, and now we're ready for the Q&A.
Folks, as always, there's the Q&A function at the top of the Teams there, as well as the chat function if there's any questions from those in attendance. I have just a quick question for either of you. There's I think a lot of trepidation when it comes to utilizing some of these tools that are available to individuals, particularly when you start talking about things like finances and proprietary information. What sort of safeguards would you say are built into this, or what would you say to individuals who are concerned about perhaps sharing that information with a technology particularly in an industry as competitive as the construction industry?
I'll take this one. So that's a great question. So thank you for asking that. Every single company out there that's got AI in their HVAC industry product is partially going to take the data that you are signing over in your user license agreement to them. So that in exchange for some of these capabilities, they want to be able to leverage that data when they monetize their software company. With the Microsoft platform, it's kind of different. In the software license agreement on all this Copilot stuff, it's your data. The data resides in your tenant, it's yours, and they don't use it to monetize anything. So it really depends on whose AI product you're using and what their real goal is as a business. So and it's very sensitive when it comes to accounting and stuff like that. So you're absolutely right. Like, you know, like all our comments in Yelp and Reddit and YouTube are available to those companies to do things with it. But on the Microsoft business apps, that's not permitted.
Okay. I got a follow-up question sort of to that one. From your perspective, where do you see the greatest value for mechanical contracting firms when it comes to utilizing AI? Where are they seeing the best, I don't want to say it's a return on investment because it may not be a significant investment, but where are they seeing the most return on that utilization?
Actually, a significant it's a significant return, because think about it, a 1% improvement on payroll productivity is real money. It may not be cash, but you're getting more for your payroll dollar, right? So you have to look at every contractor is different. We do run like business case analysis on every client, and it really depends where they're suffering, and it really depends on what they're using to begin with. But for long term, I think the upside is going to be around the maintenance checklist, like getting information back of what's failed or what hasn't been done, correlating asset life and just performance against like the maintenance cost. So a lot of it is like follow the money, and like what's the value of the asset to the customer and what's it's costing us to service that. These tools will get you information around what's going on. So I think it's really the field payroll you want to get a return on. So that's going to be like scheduling them efficiently. Just, again, like what's 1% of field performance worth to a contractor? Anything we can do to get them there better equipped to do their job, stay there a little longer, not have a callback, or and not have that invoice question because the documentation is good and all the transparency is there. It's about transactional velocity. So if these tools can get the bills out the door faster and the cash coming back faster, that's where the upside is. And like I said, for different contractors, they're struggling in different ways.
I think one of the concerns you hear every now and then when it comes to AI is this going to replace me? Or is this going to take away my job?
It will not. Listen, what do I know? I'm an accountant that sells a HVAC contractor billing machine. So I think though, like I said at the beginning, if you don't own a contractor company, but you work at one, if you learn how to use this stuff, you're a more valuable person. If you really want to know what we're afraid of, they are talking about at Microsoft something called autonomous ERP, and that's where the accounting gets done way more automated than some of the things that go on today. The thing Shanice showed around on the accounting side, like matching all the hundreds of purchase order lines against jobs and paying that. We've seen stuff from Microsoft that's coming. Well, they'll take like thousands and thousands of line items, and the error rate is like, it's so small, it's unbelievable. So, but that doesn't mean you still don't need accountants and things. It's like when the ATMs came out, didn't mean that every bank teller lost their job. It just meant they got to do better work.
Yeah. I wanted to, you touched on that, what are you afraid of? What are you most excited for in this space, and what are you most afraid of? I think you've alluded a little bit to what your biggest fear is, but what are you most excited for?
Oh, it's early days in this stuff. I don't think, it's like when the internet came out, you couldn't imagine what we're doing today vis-a-vis like 20 years ago when this thing was, on our big giant screens. We don't know where this is going to go, in my opinion, but contracting is contracting. We've got to do startups and shutdowns, and guys still need to be dispatched, and bills need to be paid. So I'm excited for having less friction. Like all the manual stuff will go away. A lot of the headaches, you will be isolated. So I'm excited for people's work experience to be a little smoother. And actually, you think about it, the stress levels might even go up because you're going to be really focused on the hard stuff, and a lot of the menial compliance things I think will be reduced. So I'm excited about that. What am I afraid of? I'm afraid of like a giant sunspot going off and knocking out all the satellites, and everything's going to come down, and we're all going to be farming and fishing to make a living. I don't think it's healthy to be afraid. I think you just have to embrace this, take every day as it comes, and just find the joy and what an amazing time it is to be a worker in this space. And it's reasonable to be afraid or manage risk, but at the end of the day, like nothing ever unfolds the way we think we can plan. So I think it's more important to just be excited about it, be positive, and embrace the stuff.
Well, and one of the things you talked about early on in your presentation as well was the power consumption required for these tools, which again is a completely separate conversation to the one we're having today, but one that is one that's very important to this sector as well, given the critical role we're going to have to play on some of those major energy generation projects. I'm not seeing any other questions that are popping up at this time. What I will say is we will have this recorded and posted to our YouTube channel, and I would encourage, it's always, as soon as I say there's no questions, a question pops up. Is there any fear from your perspective in terms of AI sharing our information that we're using? We talked a little bit about Microsoft's Copilot housing that information to individual users, but there's a lot of stuff that we're sharing with computers, and we don't know who's reading that.
The only real I think if you go with a platform like a Salesforce, an Oracle, or a Microsoft, you're protected. If you go with independent software vendors that have their own thing, you are not.
Okay. Another question just popped up as well. How can you use Copilot to edit an existing PowerPoint presentation?
You can use it in the same way. You don't have to use it to start the presentation. You can also use it to edit existing presentations.
Now, I'm going to speak from a position of ignorance here, because when I open up my Microsoft Office suite, I don't see Copilot. Is this something I need to opt into?
It's a separate license that you're adding, and then it just shows up in your PowerPoint once you add this license.
Okay, so it's not necessarily built in.
Is it free? Do they have a free version and then there's one you pay for, right?
Some of the ones that I showed are free and some of them are paid. Microsoft for Office, I think maybe there's a free trial. And I think in general, I think the thing that you should take from this whole presentation is just to get the free trials and try to play with it and just starting to use it. But the one for Office is paid. There might be a free trial.
There's a question
for the 30. Sorry, Ken, just interrupt you. For the $30 a month or whatever it is, and the things you can do with email, the amount of time it saves you in a day, it's like you can't live without it. It's like $1 a day, and then 2 clicks and you're done.
Some of those demonstrations are pretty scary. There's a question here. Has there been interest from clients or your own organization to use AI as a means of making organizational data more transparent to internal users?
Yes, we are putting our whole help engine, our entire knowledge base of our company and our product into a SharePoint in a SharePoint site. It's completely accessible by Copilot. So all our customers, when they go for help, they're in the product, they can hit our new help portal, and that's all going to be available via Copilot in the product.
It not only tells them by text what they should do, it also gives them access to videos and links to videos that show them how to do the things that they're looking for.
It's a way for us to get our support costs down and, more importantly, our responsiveness up. And that doesn't apply just to our users. Like when we onboard new people, or even salespeople, they got to learn our product and the institutional knowledge of the industry. So we're using Copilot to deliver that information much more efficiently. There's probably other things. I mean, we're using it every day in accounting. We use it in sales all the time, recording every meeting. Real life is a lot easier now that we do things so fast. We will do a demo and get the user counts, and we'll turn around a proposal and all the legals in like 3 clicks. They don't sign that fast, but we get the documents out the door pretty fast.
Well, with that being said, Jonathan and Shawnee, I want to thank you once again for your time, your insights on this. I know it's not a topic that's going away anytime soon, so we're looking forward to continued engagement on this. Jonathan, looking forward to having you take part in the conference in Austin as well. Again, thank you to everybody for your attendance today. I hope this has been informative, and we will have a copy of this posted on our YouTube channel in the very near future. So thank you again.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, folks.